All right, guys. So we're doing a Q&A on how to lose fat. I've got a bunch of questions right here that Instagram asked me. So, or like my audience from Instagram asked me. So we'll get into it. So we got, why do I always lose weight on the weekends? Or why do I lose weight on the week and then I gain it back on the weekends? So typically what may be happening is like you eat good Monday to Friday, right? Monday to Friday, you're locked in. You got that Monday motivation. You start off good, and then by when Friday rolls around or Saturday rolls around, you're like, okay, screw it. I've been good all week, and maybe you have a bit of extra food, and obviously maybe a bit of extra carbs, maybe a couple drinks, and because of that, like increase in food, increase in carbs, you end up just weighing in more on the weekend because you eat a bit more Friday night, Saturday night. So that could be a big reason. So what I recommend you do is just eat the same foods, macros, protein, Monday to Friday. No, sorry, Monday to Sunday, every single day, because this way you're going to have a consistent calorie intake. And that way you're not going to be good just during the week, and you're going to be good or you're not going to be good just during the weekdays, but during the whole weekend. And that means if you have a consistent calorie deficit and not low on the weekdays, then high on the weekends, you'll actually be able to lose weight because maybe you are screwing up your deficit on the weekends. So just make sure to stay consistent every single day of the week, not just on the weekdays. Okay. Intermittent fasting thoughts. Intermittent fasting works because it just helps with overall calorie restriction, right? It's not like magic. You're not magically burning fat just because you are intermittent fasting. Yes, while you do intermittent fast, your body does burn more fat, but as soon as you start eating again, your body burns less fat and just burns more of the carbs that you eat or more of the energy that you intake, because that is just like our body looking to maintain homeostasis. So essentially, intermittent fasting is great to help put you in an overall calorie deficit, but that calorie deficit, whether you fast or not, is what you actually need to lose weight. So if you feel like only having a shorter eating window, for example, only 8-hour eating window will help you compared to 16, then I recommend it. But at the end of the day, as long as you are in an overall calorie deficit, that's what matters the most. If you feel like you try to fast all morning and then you are starving and you just eat a whole lot of food and you're not tracking your calories, well then obviously it's not ideal because you might not be in an overall calorie deficit. So calorie deficit is king, and intermittent fasting is just a strategy to get there. Okay. Is eating at night bad for fat loss? So essentially, again, no, it's not. Like you can have some food right before you go to sleep if you want. Now, I don't recommend that because you're going to be digesting while you sleep quite a bit more than if you ate your last meal maybe 3 hours or 2 hours before bed. But essentially, just from a time standpoint, if you eat right before bed, but you're still in a overall calorie deficit, you are not going to have a problem and you can still lose weight. So that's that. But also, if you, at the end of the day, that's what matters most. If you eat a big meal right before you go to sleep, you might still have some food in your system, and that may mean that, you wake up a bit heavier, but essentially it should all balance out as long as you, again, are in a calorie deficit. That is looks like it's kind of the recurring theme here. Okay. Okay. How do I stop snacking when I'm bored or I'm stressed? So this is something that hits home because I struggle with this for, I don't even know how many years now, probably 5. Probably this started being a struggle in 2021 when I started all this. Funny enough. So what I would recommend you do is, number one, there's a lot of things that we can go about here. I've got a lot of knowledge about this topic. You can either have healthy snacks so that you don't feel guilty about snacking on them, fruit, protein bars, beef jerky, things like that actually will help you with your goals. Or just eat larger meals so that you don't need a snack, so you're not actually hungry. But if it is, if you are bored or you're stressed and that's why you snack, even if you're not hungry, a couple things I recommend you do. So number one is I'd actually journal every single morning. Journal every single morning about like a couple things that you're stressed about, whether that is work, your relationship, your fitness, where you're at, whatever it may be, how you look. Journal that down every single morning. And I actually do that every single morning because it does help me realize like, okay, it does help me get the stress out of my brain and out on paper. And that way, whenever I'm just less stressed throughout the day and I tend to snack less. But of course, there are going to be days where, midday, something stresses you out and you just are in the kitchen and you just go to eat. You need to realize that in these situations, You just need to replace the habit of snacking, right? If you have been chronically snacking every time you're stressed or bored for years, it is going to take a good amount of time to break that habit. It's going to take at least 21 days to break that habit. Okay. So understand that. And also, if you are just sitting and you're bored, you need to realize that, if you're sitting and you're bored and you feel like, okay, I just want to go to the kitchen and grab some like whatever carb sources there are, realize that in these moments, this is what causes you to not make progress. And you need to sit in this moment and realize, okay, going into the fridge and eating a bunch of snacks if I'm bored or I'm stressed is not going to get you to your goal. And you are going to get you want to go get food to give you comfort, to whether that is to be less bored or be less stressed. In these situations, though, it does not make sense to go to the kitchen and just snack, because it's not going to help you get anywhere. Because you're seeking food for comfort, but then after you eat that food, you're not really any much better off at all. And if you ate a bunch of snacks and you're not losing weight, that might stress you out more. So it's not a helpful thing. How much protein do I need to lose fat? I'm trying to lose 20 pounds. Okay, cool. So I just go 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you weigh 170 pounds, 170 grams of protein. Simple as that. Getting a bit more may have benefits as well, since protein is very, very filling. And that's cool. But as long as if you get around maybe a bit less than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, you're going to get pretty much maximum of the benefits, and you're going to be able to stay full and keep your muscle mass and build new muscle. What should I do if I overeat one day? Get right back to the plan that very next day. Okay, it happens where we have, whether it's a social event, whether you have a really bad day of eating on your own, whether it is whatever happens. Like if you just overeat one day, okay, what you need to understand is that the damage can really not be done in one day. Okay, damage cannot be one day unless you're eating like thousands and thousands of calories over. And if that does happen, literally regardless of how much you eat, do not do anything extreme the next day, because it's not going to be sustainable. If you eat, say, 4,000 calories one day and your target was 2,000, don't try to eat 0 the next day or just 1,000 the next day, because what that's going to put you in is just like a negative spiral, a binge spiral, where you're going to starve yourself all day, binge again at night, and you're not going to get anywhere. So just get back on your regular plan. Maybe, that next day, go for maybe one extra walk, maybe drink more water, and that's really all you can do, because anything else you do that's out of your routine is going to put so much stress on your mind that you're not going to get anywhere. So if you overeat one day, literally, I almost want to say like just completely forget about it and get back to that plan that next day, because ultimately the only way you'll make progress is by being on your original plan. So literally forget that it happened. Understand why did I overeat that day? Was it, I was at a social event? Was it a wedding? Was it a birthday party? That's all that happens. It's not ideal, but it happens. But were you extremely stressed so you completely crashed out on food? That is obviously that's not as acceptable. And we need to ask ourselves, okay, what was it? And if you did crash out on food and you just went crazy with it because you were stressed or bored, or you were starving, well then obviously something needs to be switched up. If you're stressed, again, journal or go for a walk or call a friend. Literally do anything you can to not put yourself in that situation. Leave the house. Even I'm at a position right now where, I'm pretty good with food, but I'm on the cut right now. What's helping me stay locked in on my nutrition is just being out of the house more, because there's no way I'm going to go buy fast food. And because of that, if I'm out of the house, there's no food around me. I'm not usually hungry because my nutrition's pretty dialed. I drink a bunch of water. That way, if I'm out of the house, I don't have to snack, because I'm not even around any snacks because I'm not at home. So if you really struggle with snacking and overeating, get out of the house more. All right. Okay, do I need to avoid eating out or dining out? I always like to say like dining out, because eating out can mean something else. But do I need to avoid, say, dining out to lose weight? So definitely not. I was in Bali for the last 6 months. I'm back in Vancouver, Canada now. I dined out at least twice a day, every day for the last 6 months. And I still lost a really good amount of body fat, because at the end of the day, dining out essentially does not make you stop losing weight. But again, overall calories do. So if you're able to track those meals, right? If you don't know how to track them, I wouldn't say bring a food scale to every single restaurant, but if you are dining out every single day, it will help you be more accurate. But at least use ChatGPT, to take a picture of it and estimate it to the best of your ability. That way, at least you'll get a bit of an estimate. And always, when you are dining out, at least do your best to choose a healthier option. Because look, if you dine out every single day and you get a whole pizza every day, or you get a bunch of fried chicken, it's going to be hard to track, and it's going to be hard for you to drop body fat, because it's very, very high calorie. But if you dine out every day, and you order the healthier option, and you maybe ask them to, maybe you get, roast chicken and mashed potatoes and like some vegetables on the side. Like that's not a bad meal going out. Like it's gonna actually give you energy. It's gonna make you feel full, help you hit your protein goal. And if you ask them to, take the sauce off, or get sauce on the side, or when you order at a restaurant, ask if you can cook it in no oil, no butter. That also is going to help reduce the calories and also make it easier to stay consistent. So if you dine out, that's okay. Again, I did that literally for 6 months, but majority of the time when I dined out, I was getting the healthy meal. I was not getting like a burger every single time, maybe once in a while, but I made sure to have calories for that. I literally ordered most of the time like chicken and sweet potato from where I ate. I was fortunate enough to have a place that served that. But obviously, if you're dining out every single day, even if you go to fast food, you need to make sure that you can plan out what you're going to eat. And if you go to a fast food place too, there are a ton of places, literally a ton of nutrition labels or nutrition guides that you can find online. For example, if you go to McDonald's, you can find the nutrition for literally every single product at McDonald's. So you can see, okay, what has lowest calories, highest protein, and just order that. Because if you just say screw it and you get like 2 Big Macs because whatever, like that screw it, that fucking mindset is not going to get you anywhere. But if you actually come with it as strategy, some strategy, you will actually make progress. Okay, can I drink alcohol and still lose fat? So this is a great question, and you guys viewing, if you guys have any questions, drop them too. I'll be sure to answer them. But drinking alcohol and lose fat. So here's the thing about alcohol. All right, alcohol itself is basically just basically drinking carbs. Obviously, there's it's going to make you feel a different way, but it's just like maybe drinking a bunch of juice or a bunch of soda. It just is a bunch of carbs essentially. So say you go out every single weekend and have like 5 drinks. That's like having 5 cans of Coke essentially for the calories, and that is obviously not the best for your fat loss because number one, that alcohol, that juice is not going to fill you up, and it literally is just a bunch of carbs. So absolutely, you can fit in alcohol, but I wouldn't recommend you doing it every single day. I wouldn't recommend you doing it all the time at all. What I'd recommend you do if you do want to drink alcohol is maybe do it every other week. I barely drink myself, but of course I like to go out. I like to, spend time with my friends. And if we do that type of stuff, I am making sure that I plan out how many drinks I'm going to have. Like I do not just put myself in a terrible position where I am going to drink like as much as I want, because obviously I'm going to go way over my calorie goals. Usually when you are super, super drunk, you end up getting, maybe you end up getting fast food right after. I can't tell you how many times when I was younger, drinking led to going to McDonald's or Dairy Queen or whatever after, and and at the point you're going to say, screw it. You're not tracking your macros when you're drunk. So if you can plan, if you really need to fit alcohol in and you want to plan that out, then plan it out where it's like you have 3 drinks and you put that in MyFitnessPal and you track that out. And you stop after 3 drinks. Literally, when I was in Bali, my friends were offering me extra drinks, and I was like, no. Like my goals are more important than this night out and feeling like super, super drunk. I'm stopping at my 3 drinks. I plan it out, and I'm done. I don't care. Like my goals are more important than a random night out with my friends at the end of the day. Because yeah, I feel like I don't need to explain much more. But if your goals are more important than you than a night out, then you need to stop drinking when you hit your calorie limit, okay? Do not go super, super over. Okay. So how do I handle social events without blowing my progress? So this is a good one. What I always like to tell my clients is if you have a social event that day of, okay, save 1,000 calories or 800 calories for that dinner, whatever. And then in the day, eat the rest of your calories where it's like you eat, say, you eat leaner foods, you eat like leaner meats and vegetables, and you save more of your carbs and your fats for that dinner. So you get most of your protein in before that dinner for the first 1,000 calories you have, for example, if you're eating 2K calories a day. And then for the dinner, you save mostly carbs and fats because, if you can order a steak or you get a steak at a social event, great. But, if it's a restaurant where it serves like only pasta, then having those extra carbs and fats are going to be really beneficial. So that's all the questions I've got. Appreciate y'all watching. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you want more information on one-on-one coaching, then just comment transformation or message me transformation, and or reach out to see if I can help. Apart from that, appreciate y'all. Peace.